Hi, this is Pam East, and today I'm going to take you on a little tour of my studio. But before I get started on what it looks like today, I'm going to take you back 1 year. This is what my studio used to look like, and stuff was piled up everywhere. This is the basement of my house, and I utilized the entire space. And a year ago, every bit of it was filled with crap. I mean, just filled to the brim, and I couldn't move. The absolute worst was my equipment room. This is my equipment room. There, every bit of floor space was covered. I had to pick my way around. So the straw that finally broke the camel's back was my bench vise. Somehow, in my overcrowded studio, I managed to lose a very large, very heavy, very red piece of equipment. I absolutely could not find it. I spent an entire day hunting for this thing, and finally, when my husband Steve got home, he was able to remove the cloak of invisibility and reveal the device. However, it really was the end of the road. I knew I needed help and that I couldn't do it on my own. And I finally decided to hire a professional organizer. I found a woman by the name of McPatty Langston, and her company is called McOrganize. And Patty really helped me get this thing under control. She and I worked together for 5 months. She came in 3 hours a week for 5 months, and that's how long it took us to organize and really put this space together. So the reorganization did not actually start in the equipment room. That was, in fact, one of the last places we did. It was so bad, it would just completely intimidated me. So we started with somewhere easier. But I want to start my tour here. And I want to say that I had cleaned up before. I was constantly fighting the tide, cleaning up, tidying, but with no systems in place, I couldn't keep it that way. It was like I'd clean it up and then it'd be messy again. I'd clean it up and then be messy again. Um, and I thought, in order to get it going, I'd need more shelves. By the way, that cabinet with all those little white boxes, that is all my enamels. I have a lot of enamel. But I thought I'd need more shelves. I didn't know where I was going to put more shelves. And the truth was, I just had too much stuff. Every time McPatty would come, there'd be big garbage bags going out to the trash. There'd be boxes of stuff going to Goodwill. We started putting like items with like items and collecting, how many pairs of pliers did I actually need? How many firing forks? I had like a dozen firing forks. I have two kilns. So there was a lot of downsizing that went on. And the big thing was that there's this huge difference between cleaning and tidying and organizing and putting systems in place. And that's what I was really learning how to do was get these systems in place, and so that not only was it clean and tidy, but that there was a logical way for it to stay that way. And that's what I spent those 5 months, excuse me, 5 months working with McPatty, learning how to do. And it was so worth it. I mean, just look at this space. So now the workroom and office is where the work really began, and that's where we got our start on all of this stuff. And like the rest of the studio, it was a constant mess. Looking at it now, I can hardly remember what it was like before. So one thing I want to let you know is it's not always this sterile and pristine. I do have workout and in process usually. There are things on work surfaces. I had an open house a couple of days ago and I put everything away for that. So I thought that was a good opportunity for this tour, but I don't want you to think that it looks like this all the time. I do actually work. Um, but anyway, the big thing for me was all these clear plastic storage boxes that are clearly labeled. I can see at a glance what's in them and how much. And it's really helped me so much. And everything is grouped by logical working systems. This is all metal clay stuff. There's all of my paper working stuff. All of my silhouette stuff has a work area. My metal clay has an area. My enameling has an area. And I don't spend hours and hours looking for the right tool or running from one room to another trying to collect everything. It's all in one place. And the time savings has been tremendous. I'm able to be more creative because, I know I hear people say, oh, I can't work in a sterile space. The mess makes me creative. But truly, if you're spending hours looking for a tool, how creative are you being? When I can just grab the tools I need, I'm actually able to be more productive. So this was a little catch-all storage. We called it the box room. Because every time I had an empty box or something, I would throw it in there. I had all my china, my mother's china, my grandfather's china. It was all in there. And most of that I got rid of all but the one I wanted to keep. Um, and, so the china's still there. I don't think I moved the camera up, but there's like a quarter as much. And this is my chemical storage cabinet now. And most of these chemicals were, well, a lot, they were really in every single room, but mostly in the equipment room. They were just all over the place. And so now I have all my chemicals in one metal cabinet that I can close up. And that keeps that very neat and I think a little safer. And that brings me to my last room in my studio basement is my recording studio, and this is where I record all my videos. This is my camera setup. I leave that set up all the time. Nothing leaves my studio without a photograph being taken of it. So having this set up, I can just throw something in there, snap a picture, and be out. Those doors lead back into my workroom. That's double doors into my workroom. And then this is uh, inventory in the company store. This is where I keep all of the stuff that I have for sale. And that, again, used to be distributed through about three different rooms, and now it's all in one place, which makes everything so much easier. A good example of that is, well, you all know I travel teach, and it used to take me a good 3 days to pack up for a trip and another 2 or 3 days to unpack and when I got back and recover. And on my last trip, my last travel teaching trip, it literally took me half a day to pack and half a day to unpack and recover, which was unprecedented. So, I mean, that's what organization can do. It can give you more time in your pocket. Um, yeah, I have a huge studio. It's almost 1,000 square feet. I'm not going to suggest that's the right choice for everybody. This has been a full-time career for me for over 20 years, so don't compare yourself to that. But hopefully you've found a few tips and tricks through this tour that might help you in your studio space. Certainly there's a lot of things that you could do to make it work better for you. And I hope you've enjoyed this tour.